recording. Yes, so our weather's been crazy. We had beautiful warm weather last week, then it got cold again. I think we might, I don't know, somebody said there was a frost warning here this week.
Tonight.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's tonight, Iris.
Tonight, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I always am a little behind. I think just where my house is located, we're like just in a little cool patch. So I don't know. Sometimes it seems to protect us from frost, but other times it seems to get us. But we're near the woods, so
Yeah, the water will always kind of keep that mild temperate. Yeah.
good. Well, if you're just joining us, you can pop your location and name in the chat. Might be fun for Jen to see where everybody's coming from. And we're recording now, so it'll be great because the folks who can't join us will be able to watch later.
Yeah, you've got quite a huge number of participants in this, Cal. It's very impressive.
It's really so great. We have so much fun. And
Oh, New Orleans, nice.
Hi there. It's warm here.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
almost
coming
80
down.
degrees.
I'm heading south. I'm fed up of our weather. I'm in just outside New York City, and it's like, blah. But the sun has come out now, so it's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
awesome. Well, it is just a little past 5, so I think we're going to kick this off. As you know, I'm Iris, and tonight we are super honored to have Jen Shiels Toland joining us from her home in New York. Jen is the designer of the Sea Haven that we're all knitting for this knit along, and she's got some other really gorgeous designs. Hopefully you had a chance to browse them. And Jen has it's always so fun to sort of dig in just a little bit, not creepily, but just into a designer's background to learn a little. And Jen has a background in a few different fields, computing and some like architecture and finance, and now knitwear design. And so I think so many of us are fascinated with the journey, as we journey into different professions, but maybe there's going to be a common thread or piece of yarn that will weave its way through.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk much more. I'm going to kind of turn it over to Jen, and if folks could mute themselves for this part, great. And then certainly we will make some time, or like I'll kind of monitor the chat about any questions you may have, and we can sort of perhaps just pause in the middle. But we'll just kind of roll with it like we do, and I will spotlight Jen here and turn it over to you, Jen.
All right, I'm feeling the heat right now and the pressure's on. So I'm Jen Shiels Toland, and I'm originally from, I'm just saying, hopefully you don't see the mess behind here. It's a little messy here. So I'm originally from Ireland, and I've kind of lived and worked in a few different cities around the world over the course of my life. And finally, I think I was here in New York one time at my job beforehand, my older job, and then another one with my husband's job more recently. And I think we're going to stay put for a while. I'm done with moving. I do have the nomad blood in me for sure, so it won't be the end. But yeah, I guess I started out my background, just, I won't totally bore you with everything, but I, come from a background of computer science and math in college, and then went into banking, and don't hold that against me, please. So I was, kind of started off programming various trading systems, and then went into equity research, and got into quants and numbers and maths. And I do love all that stuff, I have to say. So I do love designing, and I do love the putting together the patterns and grading and all of that. So I get a kick out of both of them, I have to say. And it's great when everything then just comes together, and it's like, yay. But yeah, so I did that, and then quickly, well, I say quickly, I was in banking for about a decade, and then I left that, and my husband took a sabbatical, and we went traveling around the world. and we literally I should say, we banned planes. So we were not allowed to, because my husband, at the time almost dropped dead of a deep vein thrombosis at the age of 29. So he was banned from flying for quite some time. So we kind of backpacked around the world for about 6 or 7 months. It was amazing. And after that, I thought I can never go back to an office environment ever again. And so I've always loved designing. So part of my kind of programming was designing systems, or and things like that. So I guess design was always a common thread. So I went back to college and started studying architecture in London. And then after I didn't really completely finish all that, my son came along. And so then I started knitting. And I was making kids' hats and, little sweaters and stuff like that. And I absolutely loved doing that. And I love the hats because they're like small and quick and easy, and you're done, and it's like, yes. And then I decided I wanted to get more adventurous, and kind of slowly over the course of his life, and obviously now he's like just about to go off to college, which is frightening. So yeah, so that's kind of, we've been in a whirlwind between London, Paris, New York. There's probably the 3 main cities I've kind of lived and worked in. But now I'm staying put here, and knitting is definitely my karma, I have to say, of everything. It's just, you feel stressed, keeps me going. And the next project is in my head ticking over while I'm still finishing off another one. And you're just kind of pulled in multiple directions, because I'll see something and I'll go, ooh, and that'll just inspire a trigger off something. And you just don't have enough hands to like just be doing it all. So it's yeah, sometimes it can be a whirlwind, and I'm just like, okay, you're not doing any more until you finish something. So but yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. And here I am now. I'm just like literally, if I walk down the bottom of my street, I'm on the Long Island Sound, and you can see New York City from it. So I'm kind of that close to New York City, and the water, which is very important. I was talking with Iris earlier. I just never want to be too far away from water. That's my other baby, which is why I think everything is sea related or has some sort of connection to either coastal or architectural. And they're my two, I think my biggest two inspirations for most of my design comes from the water, the coast, and I guess architecture. They're my two huge loves. So and that's kind of it. Like just background stuff out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all really enjoy, just I love the connection with math and with computing. And I think I just saw something recently that was some meme maybe, but it was like, knitting is really computer programming in 3-dimensional space.
It's exactly
We're doing
yeah,
recursive loops and all of those things.
yep. You literally are setting a code. You work the routines X amount of times, and out produces a piece of, your end result is either a knitwear or the program doing what you want to do. It's exactly that. Yeah.
Very awesome to see those connections. So I would love to hear you talk a little bit, like you talk about the sea being an inspiration. There's in as I've looked, I can see, like, I mean, your brioche, I've seen your brioche patterns.
Yeah.
There just seems like there's a lot of really beautiful rhythmic design stuff. So like, I guess your design is, if you could talk just about like your design aesthetic. I mean, it's sort of simple, classic, classy, but I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my whole, like, I guess it goes back to like minimal architecture is kind of one of my, although I know this is quite minimal here, it's minimal messy, my studio right now, but I do love just taking a few simple elements and then just turning them into something, because it doesn't have to be over the top crazy, and just literally using I guess those in repeats, as you say, just to give that whole kind of repetition. I guess one of the big stitches that I've always loved as a kid when I would knit projects, because I was taught knitting in school in Ireland. It was part of our curriculum with cooking, and the boys had to do it as well. So it was like, I think it went out the window in the mid 80s, but yeah, when I was there. But it goes back to sorry, I've lost my train of thought now, what I was saying.
The knitting, like maybe like with the stitches you enjoyed knitting.
Yes, just the repetitive, the line. So this is it was fisherman's rib. So that was where I was going back. Fisherman's rib was one of the probably first fancy stitch I learned as a kid that I absolutely adored. And I thought, oh my God, the lines, the repetition, just the ease of it. And then when I came across brioche, I was like, this is the same as fisherman's rib. And so, you know, the whole kind of thing all unraveled, and it was like, oh wow, they're all interrelated. And hence why I think a lot of my patterns earlier on where there was a lot of brioche, and because I absolutely love brioche, because I just have this, as I say, this love for fisherman's rib, which is, you know, similar but different springiness. And yeah, we could go into that one and have a whole hour on that, but another time. But yeah, so I guess I am sort of like a less is more, with the exception of brioche, because then it needs to definitely be more and more, because brioche definitely. And so that's where it's kind of like any of the brioche shawls, I never know where they're going to end up. They literally, I just get cast on and it just goes. So I never know what way it's going to end, and it's kind of fun. And so it's like, oh, I'll do a bit of repeat here. And so it's very organic. Whereas if I'm going to do a sweater or something else, I kind of have, okay, I need a minimal amount on my yoke, or I want it to go drop down deeper, and I kind of have it set in my head, and I'll kind of have an idea that that will end up that way. With brioche, I never know where it's going to go, because it's just one of those stitches that you have fun with, and it goes, oh, that works really well. And yeah, so you just go with the flow in that. So it's a really fantastic fun stitch to play with. So, and people will always say, oh, it's very difficult, but it's not. You have to just break it down and have a little bit of patience, a little bit of crying at the beginning, and then you're through. So then
I've taught a brioche class at the Goat,
yeah,
and not real recently, but one of the things as I was thinking about teaching it was I was like, I want to teach the things that somehow I found it really hard to find information about or hard to learn when I was teaching it myself. Like, just like, what do you do with your yarn at the end of the round? Is it forward? Is it back? Nobody was really talking about it. It makes sense to me now structurally, but anyway, yes, super
yes.
fun.
You're totally right. It is a lot of just, you know, playing with it and seeing which way, you know, because like knitting, you will have an end result, and you can get to it in multiple ways and you'll still have the same outcome. So it's quite fascinating that. So, but it's yeah, it's just the way you manage it at the end of it is the key thing, all right, on that. Yeah, especially with like, yeah, especially knitting in the flat with brioche. It's yeah, far more complicated than in the round. So anybody out there, start within the round, 2-color. So much easier.
So much easier. That I made a little hat pattern that's pretty simple with 2 colors in the round, and I was just like, I think we'll just start with a little rolled brim, and we won't make it too fancy.
It's perfect. Exactly that. Exactly that.
Can you tell us about where you're from in Ireland, where you grew
So
up?
I'm from the East Coast, from Dublin, so on the Irish Sea. So yeah, I spent lots of childhood on the West Coast, though, in Galway, and the Southwest down Kerry. So lots of sunny. I would say actually it was quite warm when I was a kid growing up. Yeah, so lots of warm, sunny days in the summer on the coast. Yeah. But definitely, if you're going to Ireland, go to the West. It's much nicer than the East. Like, everyone's going to shoot me for saying that, but it's much more fun, and it's very pretty, and you've got the, you know, the Atlantic and the mountains, and it's a fun side of Ireland. So, and Ireland's tiny, so you got to think you can fit Ireland into New York State probably about 3 or 4 times. So that'll just give you the perspective on how small the country is. So yeah, you can drive across it in 2 hours. So yep.
You can really see a lot.
So
Yeah.
yes, exactly. You can see a lot. Yeah.
I was wondering if you would talk to us a little bit about current patterns. I know you have something that's being tested because I've been seeing that on your social media.
Yeah. So yeah, there's actually, yeah, I've got 2 test knits going on at the same time, which I have never done before in my life. And I'm just like, why did I decide to do this? But anyway, I had my Riptide slip over is getting a modification. It was quite a major rewrite of the whole front of the slip over. So I'm adding a V-neck. There's some waist shaping going into it. So certain elements that are in the Sea Haven sweater, I'm adapting them in. But the V-neck was quite a tricky one to do because I wanted it just to be really easy for people to know exactly where they need to go in the pattern and what repeats they need to do. So you'll see from the first pattern how it's written, and because it's going to be going as 2 separate files. So I've decided to keep it that way because it's too, I think, convoluted to try and put it into one file. So people will get 2 files for the price of one. Woohoo! So yeah,
I put the link to the, just while you're getting it, I put the link to the current pattern in Ravelry in the chat if people want to look at that. And so,
that is the V-neck. So it actually, I've ended up doing this one without a split hem in it. So it's kind of, and there's the waist shaping, it makes it feel, it's actually like a tank. So you can wear this without anything underneath it for the summer. So it's kind of fun. So I had started it originally, and then I had just taken in the V from where the round original neck had, but I just felt it all too high. And so I was like, oh, I'll throw that out and I'll forget about it. And then I had too many people asking me, where's the V-neck? So, and the back has the same, the pattern on the front. So that is coming out, I swear, the guys test knitters out there who have just, like, I had asked them to do a minimal amount just to do it up to, because I really just wanted to test out the V-neck in all of the sizes. And there's 10 sizes in it. And half of these guys have already knit the entire thing in literally about 2 weeks, if not less. It's insane. I mean, they're like miracle. I think they all have elves and magic elves working in the background through the night because I can't get over it. So yeah, it's really fantastic. So
what's the yarn weight?
Pardon?
What's the yarn weight?
The yarn weight, this is DK, but this is the Fiber Co's and Make. So some people are using a heavy sport, some are using a light DK, because I would probably put this in a category of a light DK. Like it's alpaca, linen, merino. It's actually very nice, lightweight DK yarn. And so it kind of, for spring into summer, it works. And for literally throughout the winter and into fall, it might be a bit too heavy for completely in the summer. But actually I wore this when I was away. We escaped over Easter break, and it's actually quite enjoyable wearing it in the mid-20s. Oh, sorry, I'm in Celsius still, so you know, probably 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
nice.
it worked.
That's fabulous.
But yeah, so that one's coming out probably next Tuesday. I'm going to add the update. So if anybody is thinking about it, I did debate whether I put it as a separate pattern or put it into the original pattern, because there was quite a lot of work involved in restructuring the front and rewriting it. But then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put it all in, and everybody who's already bought it is going to just have a nice little free upgrade with it. And yeah, so anybody now, I will put the price up probably by a little bit. So if you're thinking you might want to, get it now.
That's awesome.
Before, I think probably Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to go out. So
so great. I love it. It looks really, really pretty.
So that's been busy. And then there's like yeah, this whole Riptide again, Riptide with the whole sea again. But there's a halter with the overall riptide coming out probably middle of May. And I have another bunch of amazing testing. Again, I don't know where some of these people, they're just like and and they're like from all over the world, and I love my testnets because I feel like it's a little mini Cal in itself, and I really get involved in it. I'm not a person who just sits and then comes back after 2 weeks going, okay, where is it? And so I really enjoy the whole connection with the people, and it's actually really fun. And usually I'm very sad when a pattern goes live because it's like the end of a little mini intense Cal that you've had. So, but yeah, no, the guys out there, the test knitters that are, you know, the team at the moment, the two of them, they're phenomenal. And I can't thank them any, you know, as much for what their work they're doing, and they're flying through it, and the feedback, and it's great. It's really, really great. Yeah.
And so that halter, that's does it go around the back of the neck? Is it like tank style?
I'm gonna
Ooh.
peek over here. So yeah, I think I put one up. This is another, actually it's quite funny. So there's a long, look at this blue.
Ooh, wow.
So this is, yeah, it's literally, it does have a back. So it's a halter with a back. So it's similar to the front and back, but it's just, yeah, a summer top. So yeah, so this is really fun, and I've started or almost finished another one in black in a different yarn. Again, this is the Fiber Co, and then I tried another yarn that's I think got 40% silk. So it's quite a little lighter for the summer, and yeah, so that will be mid-May. So again, we've got people who are using cottons, so lots of variations on the yarns, which is great. So people can get, you know, dig into their summer stash and go for it. So yeah.
I know probably everybody like me is wanting the pattern name. I can't remember. It's the sweater you're wearing right now.
Oh, this one, yeah, I debated about what would I put on me, and I was like, and then, and actually earlier on, it was, as I say, so cold, I had a heavier one on. I thought, no, actually, I need this. So this is Seashore Stroll. So this is a fingering weight, and this is in Hudson and West's Weld. So it's their fingering, and it's really, the stitch definition from this yarn is amazing for a fingering weight yarn. So I absolutely love it, and I love this shade. So yeah, I had it again. It's like Sea Haven. It has long arms, short arms, and yeah, a few different options in there, but the yoke more or less stays the same. So but yeah, so again, that came from, so the whole sea, you know, story, I should say, came from this, what I call it my best swatch ever, because I was messing around with Gansey, and well, actually, yeah, I guess Gansey stroke or versus Aaron. So, you know, Aaron, Irish, Gansey, UK, this kind of, you know, and the two of them kind of trying to come together. But I love the knits and pearls of Gansey. That's literally all it is a sequence of knits and pearls and putting them in whichever way you want to. So when I did the Sea Whisper, which was a cow, I had a ton. You can see all the stitch patterns are in there. There's like so many different ones. So it ended up, you know, I started knitting a swatch, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to cast this on the round, and then it literally grew into a cowl. And then every little element, so it's taking out a couple of these elements and putting them into sweaters, and that's literally how the whole sea grew. It grew from that to a sweater, to a hat, to mittens, and it's been really fun how this can just have a whole life on its own. And I think there's probably another sweater to come, maybe. There's definitely, people have asked me, where's the shawl? There's no, so yeah, so we'll come back to that. Riptide has been ripping me out to sea, so I don't know what's going on. So this is where I'm like, I have to come back and then try and go, okay, what's next? You know, so, and wishing you had multiple hands, but I'm very happy I have two and they work. So I'll thank God for that. So yeah, so that's how sea kind of Haven and sea, where the whole sea collection came about. So yeah, and I think Riptide's kind of having that whole similar thing. It just started with the shawl and this top, and yeah,
It must be interesting as a designer to have that, you know, you've got a concept or you've got some stitch patterns, and it's almost like you get to apply them to slightly different, you know, taking something and then, oh, okay, so how would this work as a cowl? Oh, right, what elements would I include in a shawl? What would be
yeah.
the shape? That
And
kind
that's
of thing.
exactly it. What shape, how much, where, what, how many repeats. And, you know,
Mm,
so depending on what the garment is going to be, do I want it busy? Do I want it not so busy? Do I want just, and that's it. And so you kind of want the elements to accentuate the way the garment hangs as well.
mm,
So it's that kind of thing. So to make the most of what those design elements really are and make them stand out rather, you know, than you've done some stuff and they're hiding off the side because you can't really see it. So it's more to, you know, accentuate the shape, and to maximize the little bit of detail, because that's the thing about less is more. It's just about putting it in the right spot and making it work. I hope
amazing.
so. Yeah.
Yes. We had a question from Yolanda in the chat. She's wondering, when is the halter pattern going to come out for Riptide?
The halter is going to hopefully come out mid-May. I don't know how the exact date, but middle of next month. Yeah. So it'll be ready there so you can have it knit for the summer months. Because it's actually, it does knit up really fast. So yeah.
No
No
sleeves sure does
sleeves.
help.
And no shoulders. It's literally, it's, you know, so yeah. Yeah.
That's
So I guess
awesome.
most of the work, yeah, you get the front and the back done and you're like, whoa, you know, and then you've just the body. So I'm like, I prefer sleeve island to body island. So I know we have that big debate. I love sleeves. They just constantly get smaller. So whereas bodies don't. Yeah.
True. Well, that's exciting. Let's see. Does anybody have questions now? Just we could take a little break for questions. You could, I don't know, maybe raise your hand because of how my screen's set up. We've got a question about the pattern or design or maybe Ireland. Who knows? Oh, I see that Yolanda. Let's see. Why don't you?
Oh my God, I'm looking at where people have come from. This is amazing because I've just got the chat up on the side now. Wow.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's such a pleasure to meet you and hear from you, because the patterns, and I've looked at your patterns, they're all stunning, really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Detail, right? With the lace, kind of the allusion to lace work, you know, really beautiful. I have a question, and I haven't, this is only the second sweater I'm attempting. And so, but for your gauge specifically for this project, said that you wanted gauge to be achieved with this kind of real pinning. And I can't figure out if that's because you want the beautiful detail to really shine when it's open.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've also heard from other people, well, does that mean every time you're going to, you know, rinse the sweater, which is hardly ever, that you're going to be pinning your sweater? And so how critical is that? I've kind of
So for the okay, so it's kind of twofold. Okay, so there's a couple of things. So one, sometimes if you're not using because I know how this yarn is going to work out, for example, for the yarn I'm using. So other yarns, you sometimes when you're knitting them, all the stitches are kind of more bunched up, and so they need to kind of relax a bit, and so you cannot see the pattern, and it will affect your depth. So what needs to happen is you need to kind of relax that, and that's why, you know, when you do your swatch, you can see, and I don't know, I'm hoping you did, but if you've done your swatch and you're going to block it the same way you're going to treat your end garment, you will know exactly how your stitches will go. Now, what happens is a lot of times people don't do that. So in order to kind of make sure that the yoke is actually going to fit you right, for this one, I decided, let's get everybody to block their yoke, and then when they put it on, they can actually then adjust how much depth they want to do after the sequence to get their yoke depth right. Because some people add more, you know, plain stocking stitch, and others will shorten it, but depending on how much their yoke has grown after they've blocked it. So if you understand when you wet block something, you're adding moisture to it, so the fibers will relax and spread out. And so whereas if you were to put it on without actually having blocked it, I think sometimes your yolks are up here or they're down here, and you just you get a much more feel for how the sweater is going to sit on you if you block it. Now, I don't do it for all sweaters, but for certain ones I do, and this one I also do. And I got a huge amount of feedback from people going, this is brilliant. I think I'm going to just block my yokes, everything for every sweater from now on, because the difference was huge. And so it meant that the arms sat right where they wanted their underarm to sit rather than lower down. And so that's primarily the reason for it. It's not so much getting the actual fiber to look nicer. It's more of how is it going to be after you block it. And this is the part where you want it to fit correctly. You know, you want to get your arms in sync with where you want your yoke to finish. And so I thought, let's just block it halfway through and see what happens. And it actually worked out really well. So and I think I did it, my first time I ever did it was with a brioche sweater called, or actually it was a summer top, I think it was my Summerlicious, I think. And so because brioche grows a lot, you definitely want to get that blocked out before you're going to start, when you're not doing an overall the same stitch. And this was like I have this section of a brioche, very simple 2-color brioche running through the pattern. There's no brioche increases or nothing. It's literally just, you know, bark one, pearl, you know, knit and purl one in brioche. And again, because brioche grows, you want to see how it grows so you can set then your depth afterwards. Like if you've knit it to exact gauge and exact row that it calls for, you don't need to do it because it's going to end up that way, you know. And so, you know, after you've done your little swatch block, but this is just to help people through the process. Sometimes you're knitting also, you relax and your gauge, you know, sways. It's like ebbs and flows. And literally, if you were to knit like literally a scarf, I guarantee you that your beginning tension is going to be tighter than your end tension. So that's just the way we are as human beings. So keeping that consistent it's quite hard. So literally that was just another step that I decided it might be an idea and it will help people. And overall, I think the feedback I've got is that they've really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's not, you don't see it in most patterns at all, but I think if you've got anything delicate or lace going on, especially if you have a lace going on, I would definitely be encouraging people to block their yokes before they go any further after the detail. If it's all over, I would still be doing it to when you're getting closer to where you're going to be, you know, sorting out for your underarm joins and things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. It's a good question.
Yeah. Just to pick up on that, I was working with a knitter in the shop the other day who brought in her swatch that she diligently made, and you know, we're measuring it. You know, sometimes it's just like you're like, it's 5, it's 4.75, it's, you know, it's, and I said, well, here's the beauty of this pattern is you will be able to, because we talked right through the fact that like, hey, you know, everybody's basically doing the same rate of increase until on page 6 or wherever it is, where it's like sizes 1 and 2 do this thing, and you know. And so I said, the great part is that's write a note in your pattern to after that, because I think she was like a 4, but she was thinking, well, what if it turns out that
sizes, exactly.
And I said, so just try it on after that size 3 specific thing, and then like there's the next bus stop you could get off at.
That's exactly it. I like that, the next bus stop. And then you can adjust, you can adjust it much easier then. Yes.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, it's a good point. I like that one. I'm going to use the bus stop.
Yeah, get off at this bus stop or go back.
Get off quick.
Oh, I went too far. The bus stop took me too far. I gotta rip back.
I missed the stop. Yes.
Does anybody else have questions for Jen? Yeah, we're good
All
right
gone
now.
shy. Everybody's feeling hungry. It's probably dinner time most places, except for Colorado. I'm impressed. Who's coming from Colorado? I just see somebody from Colorado, and
That's Helen, I think.
I'm wondering where in Colorado that is. I was just out there last summer, so that's why I'm just curious. So yeah,
West
beautiful
of
state,
Denver.
absolutely beautiful state. Pardon?
West of Denver.
Oh, west of Denver,
About
gorgeous. Okay.
45 minutes.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, yeah, no, it's really beautiful. We did out in we're out in Yellowstone and that part of the area, and between there and then Montana as well. And it's all just amazing. This country is like vast with beautiful landscapes. Yeah, so impressive.
I see Jennifer. You have your hand raised.
Another Jennifer, hi.
Another Jennifer.
Hi. I have a question. I really love the ripple, but the pattern's no longer available. Are you going to make that
Yeah.
available again?
Do you know what? I've had a few people ask me about that because I kind of went in, that was so what happened is I had published that, well, I had kind of was half publishing it, and at the same time it got selected to go into a book with Vogue Knitting. Hence then I thought, oh, I can't sell this. But what's going to happen is I think my timeline has kind of moved on with them, and I may change a few things on it. So it's not exactly the same, but yeah, I actually, thank you for raising that. I had a lot of people ask me about that last winter, and okay, now thank you. I'm going to write a note.
Great. Thanks. I'll look for that.
It's a really fun, literally a cable. I think there's 16 stitches that you've got to cross, so it's 8 and 8, and then it's sort of completely reversible. So yeah, it's actually,
undulated aspect of it really appeals to me.
Yeah.
And
Okay, thank you.
I've seen some cable cowls that are reminiscent, but I've never seen like the brioche with so much detail. I just love the way that one looks.
Yeah, although that's the thing. See, this isn't brioche. It's just in a 2x2 rib, but it looks
okay. It looks
more intricate, and it's very simple, but it's literally just all in 2x2 rib, and you have to cross them at certain points. And okay, but no, I'll sort that out for next winter.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's see, Susan M from New Orleans.
Yeah, that's me. So I just want to say, I just came back from Ireland about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was so amazing. We started in Dublin, just a couple of days there, Dublin to Cork to Killarney, and I got to see like the Dingle Peninsula. Got to put my feet in, I guess that was the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, that's the Atlantic Ocean.
I mean, I had to do it. It was freezing cold.
Yeah,
but I had to do it.
Yeah.
But I am curious about. So there are Aran sweater markets everywhere, right? Or woolen mills everywhere. Sheep everywhere. I love the sheep. Oh, I love the sheep so much. But so one of the a local person, I was just curious. I was like, so do y'all really wear these Aran sweaters? And he said no. And they don't wear the caps either. He said no, we don't. And I found that so very interesting.
It is very interesting, yeah, because it's so funny. When I think, in the 80s we all had them as kids, and then kind of machine knitting sort of take over, and they all kind of diminished in like quality, and I think that's what killed the cable sweater in Ireland. But having said that, it is starting to make a comeback. So there are a lot of people who are, and this is where I love Aran's, but elements of them. Again, it's about taking a certain cable twist with something else and just making it less, I guess, again, less is more. And so as I say, you know, they used to have them, they would be the family Arons, and again, they weren't knit as much as tight as Gansey was, but the yarn or the wool from the sheep, I mean, it's used to be, now we're getting it's quite God, how would you say it, a rough yarn, you know. Most of the sheep yarn in Ireland goes into carpets, it's not spun. There is a lot that is starting to be spun, which is fantastic. And I know there's the Galway Co-op, they're trying to get the original Irish native sheep back into yarn again, and that's happening, which is fantastic. But yes, most of like the west coast of Ireland, you can't grow anything. It's all rocks and rugged, and so hence that's why you saw a ton of sheep. So it's literally sheep land on that side of Ireland. And but a lot of it, because it's quite a rugged Aran, so as a kid you're like, oh, I don't really want to wear this really scratchy, itchy stuff, you know. And so and then the, you know, sheep stock or the price for yarn and wool just like literally went through the floor. The whole market collapsed. And after that it went into carpets, and as I say, most of it still does go into carpets, but there are some really great mills. You know, Donegal will always have the most fantastic woolen mills going up there and producing fantastic fibers and blending them. And I think that's the way forward. If we blend it with you know, other more luxurious fibers, you're going to get something amazing, because you're going to get the stitch definition with a little bit of, you know, luxury with it as well. And that's what makes it a great yarn. And it's getting there. It's getting slowly back to what it was. But yeah, I think, as I say, the mass market and knitting machines literally killed off the Aran sweater, but they're still gorgeous. Every single person has one. You know, they say they don't wear them, but every person has one.
Okay, I was curious. I did not buy one mainly because I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's hot here all the time. It's hot.
No, it's true. But I would love to see it back again, because you go to Iceland and they're all wearing their loppy sweaters, and it's just beautiful. And I'm like, God, yeah, we should be doing it. But I think it's about getting it kind of modernized a bit and making, you know, as I say, just maybe not streamlining it, but just taking elements or certain cables and putting it together. So yeah, I haven't gone down the cable line yet, so maybe let's see what happens. Maybe Ripple will get something in there with it. We'll see.
Very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope it didn't rain too much.
It did not. We had a little bit of rain, just a little bit, but like when we went to the cliffs, the sun was out.
Oh wow.
And the day we did the Dingle Peninsula, the sun was out.
You were so lucky.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Luck of the Irish, right?
It's been the greyest, I think, 4 months and wettest months in Ireland in history. So the cows can't even get out to fields because they're sinking. There's not enough, like all the produce, like nothing is happening because literally it has just been saturated. Like we've had, like, I don't know about New Orleans, but New York has had so many storms here as well. This, like, you know, first quarter, it's been crazy. But Ireland has just been a swamp, literally. So they're kind of, you know, hoping it'll just dry out now.
They mentioned it, and I do feel really fortunate, and it was beautiful. Just so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it is. It is so fresh. I mean, the air is such good quality. That's yeah.
I noticed that immediately.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing like it, I have to say. So, well, fresh off the Atlantic, it can't be any other way. So
yeah, for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, it looks like Gwen has a hand up. Hey, Gwen. She's unmuting.
We're talking about Ireland. In a month, I will be in Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
My fourth trip. And we're flying into Dublin, and we will end up in Galway and then fly out of Shannon.
Fantastic.
I go with a gentleman who owns the restaurant up here in the Hudson Valley. And he's from Ireland. He and his wife are both from Ireland. They still have residency there. So they form these little trips and take us to the places that they've already scouted and anything. But you're talking about the weather. My question is, what's the weather like towards the end of May and beginning of June?
Perfect.
Is it?
That is the best time. I was going to say you want to go literally, usually the first week in June, because it's the time that every single kid is taking their exams in Ireland, and it is glorious weather, always. So that first week of June, and then I would always say the first couple of weeks of September are usually the best time in Ireland to go. So I think you're going to be good.
Oh, great. Is it warm? Is it, I mean,
Oh, okay. So Ireland does not get like a good summer's day in Ireland is like 75 degrees. Like
yeah,
that's like unless we get like a heat wave, and then it can go into like 80, and that's like, whoa, the country's melting because there's no air conditioning or anything anywhere,
right.
you know. And but yes, a really gorgeous summer's day is 75. So you're looking at that kind of, like, you were not going to probably get that in June, but you might. So I would be between 65 and 70 is probably what you're going to be temperature wise. But bring
Okay.
layers. Ireland is all
Yeah.
about layers. And you're here, so you're going to have layers. So it's perfect.
The last 3 trips were in like the end of June and beginning of July. So I was just wondering if it's going to be that much different temperature
Okay.
wise, or
Yeah, it is really weird because I've like sometimes August is the worst because it'll just rain the entire month of the summer. It's like it's just so depressing because all you know, you're on holidays or whatever. But usually that end of May, early June, usually I will say, don't shoot me if I'm wrong. It's great weather. Yeah, I've had so
great.
many times where you just escape off and it's beautiful. So yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy your stay and have the
I
best time.
will.
Your
I
third time,
absolutely will.
fourth time? That's really great.
4th time. Yep.
Wow. Okay. This is cool.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Travel to Ireland plans?
Yeah. So Iris, I have to say thank you to Kristen as well for like having me on the show and actually selecting my Sea Haven. I was just completely like, whoa, that's so cool. So yeah, I'm very honored and I'm very grateful. So I'd just like to say thank you to you both for doing that. And if there's any questions that could pop up between now and the end, for sure, let me know. And I'll get back to you guys as fast as I can. And yeah, definitely.
Well, I think that, you know, as I said to you in our email exchanges, we're always looking for that pattern that has choices. Or in the past, we've done like, you know, designers where there's like 2 patterns that are sort of similar, you know, maybe a cardigan and a pullover, but it's so it includes more. We're always looking to include more folks in the fun, and so having a pattern that includes short, long, neck, no neck, you know, like ribbing, not cuffs, you know, the length. It's brilliant. And oh my gosh, if I could even just say one more time how like my mind really was blown in all the best possible ways, because you know, like we do a lot of support in the store, and we, you know, that's what we're here to do, or on email. But when I read the like on page 10 the appendix for adding extra length, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, it's quite an easy calculation to do, actually. We should just put it in every pattern. So it's
incredible. Well, Jen has graciously offered to gift some patterns to 3 folks on this Zoom. And I think you said your choice of 2 patterns. And
correct. Yeah, any
so
2 at all.
I did a little random number generator when you folks were chatting. And so our winners tonight are Beth M from Colorado. No, you're not in Colorado. Are you in Colorado? No, you're in Pennsylvania. Beth M. Yes. Jennifer Garson Loughran, right from here in Maine. And also Sue Eastler. Sue, you're a winner. And Sue's recovering from knee surgery. So it's like extra awesome that you won.
Goodness. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I hope that recovers quickly.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations, winners. So Jennifer, how should they get in touch with you, or what would
Yeah,
you?
if you want to gather their Ravelry account, or if they want to, or they can email it to me, I don't mind. Or they can drop me a message in Ravelry and tell me what patterns they want. I'll just gift them into their account, and that's probably the easiest way to do it.
So
yeah.
easy. So yeah, just reach out on Ravelry
So
and
reach
say
out to me on via Ravelry. That's probably the easiest thing. Just let me know which it is, and then I'll just pop them in.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Such a kind idea. We really love
Thank
it.
you.
And here's a sweet comment from Amy in the chat. She loves that she has the option to add the rib after the fact. So great, you know.
To add the neck back in. Yeah.
And I think it was maybe on the Ravelry page where you said something like, you know, you could knit the short sleeve and wear it all summer, and then add your sleeves in the fall. And I was like,
yeah, that's it.
oh wow. Well, this has been a wonderful time spent with you, and we're really so grateful that you took the time to be with us. Would folks go to your website to sign up for your newsletter if they're interested in that?
Yes, if they want to sign up to my newsletter, it's just under subscribe. I think the link is also probably in there from Ravelry, and you can go to it as well. But JST Knitwear Designs, and and just subscribe away. And as I say, yeah, go and grab the Riptide before it goes up next week. But I'll probably have a discount in there for subscriptions or subscribers anyway. So yeah, one way or the other. But yes, I can't wait to see all of your sweaters. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the end of May. And will you have a group like with everybody on their sweaters? It would be really fun.
So we'll do a Zoom finale, which I will definitely send you an invite to if you want to just even pop in. And we always do a like slideshow that I put together where people send me whether they're in process or they're finished. And so I put that together and kind of set it to music. So we watch that on the Zoom, but then we also have it on YouTube. So I'll be sure to send you the link to that.
That's
if you
so
can't make
cool.
it.
Very organized, I must say.
It's really fun too, because then if people want to make it in the future and they're like, oh, I missed the cowl, and I'm like, well, go on and watch this video so you get some ideas.
To have all that back is fantastic. So yeah, no, I'll be sure to let my guys know when I send out a newsletter next week, because there's still loads of time. You can easily knit this. Yeah, and if you're doing the short sleeve version, for sure you'll running till the end of May. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you again. I'm going to actually stay on after, and because there might be other folks with questions, so I'll hang out for a little while longer. But thank you so much, Jen. We really appreciate it.
It's been an honor. Thank you so much for having me, and it's great to meet you. And I hope to get back to the Kashmir Goat when I get back up to Camden. So it will be there, because we didn't get as far as Arcadia, and I was like, why didn't we get to Arcadia? But we will. So we will see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
You.
Bye, Jen.
I just end now. I'm not sure how I go out of here. This will be fun.
I think at the if you press end, you'll pop out.
Oh, I see it. Leave. Here we go. Bye.
Bye. Well, I'm gonna hang out. If anybody has any specific questions, I'll hang out for another 5 minutes or so. Thanks everybody for coming. That was super fun, wasn't it?
Thanks for arranging that. That was great. Yep.
Good.
Paris. I already have the Riptide, so I'm excited about getting the update.
Oh, nice. Because that and she said that was DK. They were DK, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that was, I bought one of the cotton DKs to make that this summer. But
oh, cool.
I have too much on my plate.
So
Yolanda, did you have a question?
I do have a question. I was just giving everyone else a chance before I took your time. But okay, I'll jump in if you're
jump
good.
In, yeah.
Okay, I'm on the yoke. Okay. And I'm on the round 4. And I guess I'm just a little, I think I know what to do, but there are too many parentheses and hard brackets. I think I'm just going back to the kind of the original information. I think I'm doing the second, I cast on 108 stitches. So the second number inside the first set of parentheses.
So that would be a size 3.
Yeah, I probably circled it. Actually, that's a size 4, right?
So there's
it's a
the
size
number
3. It's a size 3. You're correct.
Yep.
40.5 inches, right?
Yep.
40.5. So the around 4, I'm really just going to knit 9 and make one left for the entire 4th round.
Yes, just repeat that sequence. Yep.
Yeah, but it's just knit 9. And I guess I was just confused by those big brackets, but it's fine. It's just saying do the knit 9, make one left for an entire round 4.
It's kind of like in math. We're back to math and computing again, right?
No,
And-
that's perfect. It was lots of brackets, but okay, so just knit 9, make one left, and do that for round 4. Boom, done.
All the way.
Okay.
Yep. Boom, you're done. Yeah, that's
Okay,
that's
love
an
it.
easy one.
Okay, that's
And maybe you're smarter than me and you don't need to place markers every single dang time when you're doing your increase, because I just forget, and then I spend all my time counting back and being like, is this the increase? The increase. Is this the increase? Is this the increase?
So how would you do it when I'm starting? I knit my 9, make one left round, and then put a marker?
That's what I do, because then it's easy for me to look back and be like,
And
okay,
verify.
well, yes.
Okay, so I'll just put a marker after make one left and then remove them for the 5th round.
Yes.
So, okay, love it. Thank you, Iris.
Yeah. Hi,
I have
Sue.
a question, Iris. Hi. What was the yarn you made yours with? I looked at your podcast this earlier. And yes, what is that yarn?
It's the Fleece BFL by the West Yorkshire Spinners. And if you haven't used it yet, Sue, have you used it?
You've already talked me into it.
On the podcast.
I might use it to make my next sweater, but if I get one of her patterns,
that's what I'm using.
Are you? Oh, it's beautiful.
I cannot even with this yarn. I'm like a total convert now.
Let's see your color.
My color is this beautiful forest. It's a little bit washed out just because of my lighting right now. Maybe more like that.
Is that your Sea Haven?
This is my Sea Haven. Yep.
Oh, okay. So I'm doing it in the Brook color, and you're doing it in the green color.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Brook is that beautiful saturated blue, greeny. It's like it's all. And I was so torn with that, Yolanda, because as soon as we unpacked that bag, I was like, oh my God, this color is just amazing. But I just knit my carp Beth in a kind of a teal. And I was like, well, I don't have a green sweater. This is a good green.
That's a beautiful green.
Yeah. Well, Alice Dunn-Smith, our friend and designer of the Scudic Bay, just popped in. Alice, you missed Jen, but we're glad you're joining us. She's getting her audio on. Other questions, other thoughts?
I have one, Iris. I am on the section 3 left pennant. And I think we went over this a couple weeks ago, but now I'm actually at this part. So it says size 1 only. I've got that straight. I'm knitting a size 3. So then go under sizes 2 through 9 only, round 4. Now it says P, so obviously purl. Then there's a dash. Does that mean that for the smallest size, you don't increase?
So this is the thing, is our size 1 friends, they do their purl to the end of the round, and then they skip to the all sizes section. And so that dash that you're seeing is like, oh, the size 1 friends have left us. We are now only sizes 2 through 9. Yeah.
So if I'm doing size 3, then I'm going for 10.
Exactly.
Okay. So
And
purl 10 and then make one right purl.
Yep. And
Oh.
the other thing, I'm going to just make a note of that dash note 5. Maybe I'll add that into the email. That's a good thing just to remind folks about. And this is where that bus stop thing comes in. Great time after, you know, so you're doing your increases on that round 4, then there's the all sizes part. Then you're at the top of page 7 and there's another increase. And then I might recommend trying it on there and just sort of doing a midstream try on as a bus stop option, because who knows, you know, gauge is weird sometimes, but that could be a bus stop for you.
Okay, thank you.
And here, to kind of piggyback on her question, if she's doing a size 3, she's on round 4, she's going to purl 10, and then you just purl 10 to end of round. Why don't you just purl for the entire round?
So at the end of that line,
make
Yolanda,
one right.
make one right
purl.
Okay, and so you do that every 10 and put a marker. And then you don't need to pay attention to that next row with the dash and those 2 other parentheses. But if you want to check your work after round 4, you should have 264 stitches.
Right.
Okay, so you can check your work there. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to say thank you that there are so many of you that are at the same place I am. Because I could not knit with the first 2 weeks after surgery. So thank you.
Oh, good. How's your recovery been, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, slow but sure.
Yeah.
I hope to be there Saturday. I hope to stop in, but I'm not sure.
That would be so great.
Yeah. Miss everybody.
Love to see you. Well, if you need anything delivered, you know, you have friends in the shop who would do that.
Yes. That's good. Yep. So thank you for this. This has been fabulous. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Love Jen. Wow, that was super fun to get to chat with her. It's just always so interesting to get inside these, to have this time with the designers to hear more.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to see what spurs them, where their ideas and and what their focus is on.
Yes.
It's really fun.
It's a little after 6, and I know everybody's probably getting ready for dinner and their next adventures, but it's so great that everybody's here. And Alice, if you can hear me, hi, glad you popped in to say hello. I know you teach, I think, maybe. But anyway, we will see you, hopefully some of you in the shop on Saturday who are local, but for our remote friends, you're gonna get to enter the raffle too. And yeah, there's gonna be lots of cool stuff. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you for another Zoom next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye, Iris.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.